everybody. This is It Came From GenX. I am Keith Porter, a.k.a. Porterhouse, alongside my compadres, my friends, my buds, my co-host, Brian, known as the Fishbone Fisher. And, of course, we got Michael, known as the Skinbone Skinner. Fellas, how are you today? What's going on, Fish?
Hey, man. Great week. Nice long weekend. Obviously, with the snowstorm up here, so Monday was a nice holiday for MLK Day.
Yes.
And nice snow day with Ali. So just nice, relaxing weekend. Busy at work, but glad to be here with you guys this evening. So
I'm glad you mentioned the MLK Day because, you know, I don't know if you saw my Facebook post on that day, but there's a lot of holidays where everybody says all these good things, but they're really not doing anything to perpetuate it. Like, you know, they want to talk all this good stuff on Veterans Day, but do you give or do you do anything to help the veterans? You know what I'm saying? But on MLK Day, I thought about it. I was like, okay, Keith, you posted a picture, but what are you doing? And I said, you know what? I like to think that my life is a great representation of his dream.
Mhm.
And I said, you know what? If anybody here else is on my Facebook page, I'd like to think that you are too, or we wouldn't even be friends. You
Absolutely.
guys certainly help embody his dream. So happy MLK Day to you.
Thanks, brother.
How you
Well
doing,
said, man.
Skimbo? What'd you say, buddy?
I said well said.
Thank
Well
you,
said
thank
about
you, thank you.
MLK. Absolutely. Uh,
So go ahead, buddy.
Good weekend. We had Christmas with Dad and my sister on Sunday, and whopper of a snowstorm, which we'll talk about here in world news here coming up. But been a busy week. Was down in Columbus, like we talked about, for
Yeah.
work for a couple days, and just glad to be here tonight with you fellas.
Okay. Well, you guys are talking about the weekend. I'm gonna back up like a whole week because, like, I had like a great Thursday. I had dinner at Skinbone's house,
You
and
did.
I ate Salisbury steak for about 4 days. It was so
Yeah,
good.
I cooked a little too much food, and I sent home
Yes, you
leftovers for
did,
everybody.
and it was much
There you go.
appreciated too. But you know, that was a good night. It was good for me to get out. I hadn't done much at all in a while, and still chilled over the weekend. Just now getting busy. I've been out, man. I've been out the last few days, out doing it. I was out there all day today, here, there, everywhere. So it's good to be moving around again and getting things done. So we'll leave it at that, and we'll get the show cooking. Tell them where you can find us, Fish.
All right. Well, you might be listening to us on WMVU.org, Global Internet Radio, Mondays from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Just pull up their app or their site, hit play live, and you can listen to us there if you would like. Also, there are other good music and other show content they have there for free. You can listen to us whenever you want to on demand on your favorite podcast platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, and more. Links to all our social media. So we do have a YouTube channel as well. It came from GenX. Facebook page, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Links to all that stuff is on in two main areas. Our Linktree account is pulled up. Linktree. It came from GenX. And our platform page will pull up there for you. Nothing to log into. Just simply a page that takes you to other social media or our website. That's our main area. It came from GenX one word .wordpress one word .com. It came from GenX.wordpress.com. Links to all episodes, podcast episodes, videos, promos, bios, other fun things, all there for you. And if you are so inclined, consider becoming a Patreon of the show. Give us a couple of bucks. Links to our Patreon account is on our website as well. If you like our stuff too, tell a friend, give us a subscribe, give us a share. Helps out a lot. We appreciate your support out there. And some extra call out here on video. I am waving a little flag here.
Hot.
Black, red, yellow. These happen to be the colors of Germany. It's a little German flag. I mentioned this on the other podcast I do with other friends, Convincing Idiots. Our listenership on both podcasts in Germany has increased a little bit. So
Fantastic.
I have this flag at my home because I did a DNA test and I have some German in me. Skinner wants some German in him too, so maybe I'll see him later. But thank you. No, but thank you to our listeners out there. We don't know if you're one fan or 10 fans or whatever it is, but we thank you for your support overseas. Guten Tag and thank you.
Dankeschön.
Yes,
that's right. Now you forgot 2 other places they can find us too, where we have accounts. You can catch us on sugardaddy.com and also on dadbot.com. So
there you go.
Yeah.
there. All right. How about some world news? Skinner, take it away.
Yes, all right. First, before we start the world news, shout out to DJ Christophus Dominic from WMVU.org.
Yep.
Wasn't for him, we wouldn't be where we are today. And also, my pride and joy, our producer extraordinaire, the boss as we call him, Michael Skinner Jr. What he does for the show, we can't thank enough for all his enthusiasm and everything he does for us. And for you listening pleasure, he's doing a great job, and keep it up, son.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So
world news. Seems like it's been a minute since we've done anything, but I got to start off with the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Are you guys familiar with that subject at all?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Why would we not be familiar with the brink of World War III?
Right. This goes all the way back to like 18 or 1600s with Ukraine and Russia. If you can fathom that. What's happened is back when the Soviet Union collapsed and became Russia, Ukraine took their independence, and that's back in 1991. So if you remember what you guys were doing back then, I was a year out of high school and getting ready to go into the military. So it's kind of a Gen X spin. So since 2013, they've had they called it Ukraine Russia conflict, and right now there are thousands, tens of thousands of troops from Russia that are at the border, and it looks like they're just waiting for the moment for Vladimir Putin to say the word. And boy, I'd hate to see what's going to happen, because I know the United States has already said, if you guys do this, there will be a stiff price for your actions. So,
All right.
that's like you would say, possibly World War III. You might have, some may have thought you were joking about it, but it very well could be on the horizon if something should go.
Yeah, I mean, I was making light of it, but it's scary stuff, really.
Yeah. So, any thoughts? Any concerns? Anything you want to add to that story? Go ahead.
It's just a military exercise. That's what Putin is saying. So I don't think there's anything to worry about. I'm kidding. That is what he's saying, actually.
Yeah,
But
it is.
I don't think the United States is going to go send troops over there and get into a war with Russia. Now, maybe we support in other ways. I can't imagine our troops will go in over there and start fighting. So I think it's more just kind of
with other world powers, right?
Absolutely. Well, I think it's just more positioning and everything else. But we'll see. Go ahead.
Sanctions, money, financial sanctions, products and goods. Yeah, I mean, I think that's more of what the warning was. But who knows?
Sure. Even before sanctions, I mean, there's a lot of posturing between world powers. Cold War's over with, but still, the word of mouth back and forth it seems to be the battle that's been going on. It's two people who knows, you know what, regardless if we fight, no one's going to win. And they know that. The United States knows that. I don't know how much they care. I would imagine the U.S. cares. No one's going to win a fight between us and Russia. That's for sure. The whole world's going to lose. So,
Total
um,
bloodshed.
Well, fortunately, one of our weapons for the United States is that we used to defeat to help end the Cold War back in the 80s is still around. So Sylvester Stallone and Rocky Balboa can
There you
perhaps
go.
go over there and do something. So, Keith, we can't hear you right now, brother, by the way. So,
I said this is absolutely true. If we could get set up another fight, obviously
yep,
Rocky is too old, but there's some people we could send over there for sure.
sure.
Brock Lesnar, somebody like that.
Yeah, maybe Creed,
I
Yeah,
was just gonna say you got Creed.
Yep.
What was that Michael Jordan?
Michael B.
Michael B.
Jordan.
Jordan. Yeah,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
So yeah, it's something to keep an eye on, man. Like I said, a lot of posturing going on right now. Um, but escalation in this, nobody wins. Nobody wins. That's
Yep.
You know, since the U.S. left Afghanistan, things got kind of quiet as far as conflicts, and it was too good to be true that things were, quiet, of course. And then this, all of a sudden, the last couple of weeks has gained some traction. So
hmm
definitely want to keep an eye on it.
yeah.
My second story goes with the weather that we endured over the last. It was over the weekend. It came Sunday night and it walloped Ohio.
Mm,
Storm came from the south and wasn't quite blizzard conditions, but Ohio's known to have a lot of snow, just not a lot of snow in one short period of time. I know they said officially here in the little town of Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, where I live, which is just outside of Akron, for those that don't know. Um, Both Keith and Brian live in Akron, and they weren't far behind, but they said an unofficial amount of snow was 18 and a half inches over a
Oh
24-hour
wow,
period for
wow,
Cuyahoga Falls.
wow.
Yeah, when I went to bed, it was about 10:30, and there was quite a bit of snow out there. The driveway wasn't quite filled up yet, but then when I woke up in the morning and went, "Holy smokes, what happened here?" So I took a
Wow.
picture of I got the old snowblower. I made sure the snowblower was working Sunday before the snow came. I did a strip through the driveway and then I stuck a water bottle down for reference, and the snow was double the height of that water bottle. And then 4 more inches dropped 2 hours later. So yeah, it was pretty interesting. But the reason I bring it up is that those that remember the blizzard of 1978 here in Northeast Ohio, and our listeners that aren't from the area, just kind of listen. Back in January of 1978, we had a snowstorm weekend of the 8th and 9th. There was 8 inches or 9 inches of snow dropped, and then it got quiet for about 12 days, and then we
yeah.
received it was another 12 to 14 inches of snow dumped on us. So we're at this point we're almost at 2 feet of snow. And then on January 25th, 1978, blizzard came through and just completely demolished Ohio. I think it was Ohio, Pennsylvania, up the northern part of West Virginia. Over 100-mile-an-hour wind gusts, along with about 8 to 9 inches of additional new snow came. Now, I was only 6 years old, so I don't remember much of it. But what I do remember, I remember seeing pictures of people's houses trying to do the cleanup.
Mm-hmm.
Back then we didn't have snow blowers, and we didn't have the backpack leaf blowers that you could use to blow the snow out. You get out there with the shovel, and I tell you what, that snowstorm that we had just a couple days ago, it was something else because it was a real heavy, thick, wet snow, and then we had about 8 inches of fluffy snow on top of that. So, you guys remember this blizzard of '78? Do you have any recollection of how bad it was
I,
then?
I have a vague memory. Um, I just remember it being more snow than I've ever seen in my life.
Hmm.
And I remember seeing pictures on TV. Depending where you live, certain situations, people's front door, depending on the style of your house and whatnot, was covered like 5 to 6 feet high with snow. It couldn't
Yeah, they
open your
said
front door.
Some drifts in open areas, 20 to 40 feet of snow drift.
Right. So certain people who like didn't have a porch or like a, inset type, they were in a mess. They're like almost trapped in the house basically. And I remember that being really scary to me. Just like, man, what would you do with something like that? And I used to daydream with just having a flamethrower. It's just like, wow. Back then when you were stuck in the house and the heat was on and you're a kid, you thought it was just maybe the greatest thing in the world. Of course, the moment we could get outside, we got outside and played football all day. Kids today don't know nothing about that. They want to sit and play, Madden all day. I'll never forget a girl I was dating a while ago, 15, 20 years ago, and she had a 13-year-old son. And I'll never forget, big first snowstorm of the year came, and I got so excited. I was like, dude, let's go play some football. And he went, football? But it's snowing outside. And I just shook my head like, wow, never mind. He doesn't get it.
Right. That's the best time to play.
Yeah. So anyway, but, being a kid then, I remember, like, we're in the house. We're having fun. It's great. Nobody's going anywhere. Today, when I see these things, I'm a little bit more fearful. I'm scared of power lines going down, people without electricity. You think of all these things as an adult. So it's amazing here it is 2022 and we still have people losing power constantly and things like that going out. And Skinner, better than anybody living in Cuyahoga Falls about that. So that's what I remember.
Yep. Well, first I wanted to add that this past weekend, Keith, Marcy said that she hadn't seen that many inches of anything around the house in quite a while. So
listen to him.
Wow.
Pow!
Jeez. What did you do to fishing, Skinner?
Man, that was too easy.
You bragging about the dinner he wasn't invited to.
He hadn't seen that many white inches in a long time.
But I honestly, in 1970, I remember that time, and the reason I did, I was lucky enough as a kid. I was literally on the way to Florida with my grandparents. So my grandma, my grandma and Grandpa Fisher, my dad's parents, had a motorhome at the time, and had me and my cousin, who was around my age, JT, and he took us down to Florida. We went to Busch Gardens and Disney World. And I remember it was chillier. We had to wear a sweatshirt down there and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then my parents came down separately in a station wagon soon after, and they had a hell of a time getting out of the state, but they still drove down and made it out of there. But that's where I was in the blizzard of 78 on the way to lovely Florida. So avoided it.
All right. Good memories. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Appreciate those stories. That's good nostalgia stuff there, Skinner.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we're going to move on to a little sports and music. Okay, guys, sports. We'll start off with sports in the obvious. We had the wild card weekend of the playoffs take place.
Porter.
To sum it up, Skinner. Yeah, shut up. Skinner made a comment last week. We'll get to your little jersey. Skinner made a comment to me last week, trying to get on my nerves as he usually does, kind of ticked me off, and he was absolutely correct. I was boasting about the Steelers making the playoffs, and he said, well, they don't belong in the playoffs. And sure enough, they did not belong. As a matter of fact, I would say the two Pennsylvania teams did not belong in the playoffs. They were a product of the playoff expansion.
Mm-hmm.
I thought my Steelers had a great game plan. They came in, the defense dominated the first quarter. They had the Chiefs on the ropes, but unfortunately, the anemic offense could not move the ball, and that caused the defense to come back. They got wore out, and there's just too many horses on Kansas City. I mean, the cream always rises to the top, and you just saw the talent level way beyond what Pittsburgh has, especially offensively. And totally dominated them. And, of course, you thought that would be the biggest blowout in the playoffs, but my goodness, what was done to the Arizona Cardinals was savage.
And the Patriots, too. Patriots and Bills.
The Patriots, too. That's right. So
the Bills, there was a lot of blowouts.
Kansas City looked amazing, but, man, the Bills look like they are on something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
This team is ticked off. They're firing on all cylinders. You try to guard everybody, you can't stop Josh Allen's legs. So the Bills and Chiefs might be the best game of the whole playoffs.
Yeah.
Too bad we can't see them in like the AFC Championship. This is going to be incredible. Of course, Cincinnati Bengals won their first playoff game since the 80s. Congratulations to them.
Yeah.
They look amazing. The young quarterbacks are finally taking their place, and it's nice to see the new guard not being anything less than spectacular. You know, you talk about the new players. Well, when back in the day we did, no, these guys are great. I know it's a new system. I know you can't touch the quarterbacks. I know it's hard to play defense now, but these guys are absolutely great. The only person that's not there, I thought the Chargers should have been in the playoffs. They fell short against the Raiders, but Herbert, I think, is another spectacular young quarterback. So, just thoughts on the playoffs. Skinner repping his San Francisco 49ers.
Yes, sir.
Jersey, who looked incredible, beating Fisher's Cowboys. I tell you what,
rephrase that. Dallas beat themselves.
Well, you know what, though? They did. They, without question, I thought they did as well. But I got to tell you what, man. If I had to vote for the most underrated player in the NFL, Deebo Samuel is something like we've never seen before.
He is something else.
I saw an article today that he's invented his own position, the wide back. I've never seen a wide receiver that can double as a running back. Incredible. Skinner?
Oh, I agree. He was the whole reason they were even in the game. I thought Dallas had a good game plan, especially in the first half, but they couldn't get out of their own way.
Yeah.
All those penalties, and then
too much talent on that team, but they're the most penalized team in the league.
Both by amount of penalties, they were second, and then yardage. They blew out everybody as far as most yardage penalties in the league. So, and the only thing I could say is that last play of the game that ended up being the last play of the game.
I don't understand.
What the hell was Dak thinking?
I don't. It wasn't Dak. That was called by Kellen
Moore.
Yeah, Kellen Moore. That was
okay,
but
he still could have done an audible. I mean, that was just.
Yeah, I will never understand that as long as I live. You got what's your wide receiver's name? CeeDee Lamb.
Yep, Cooper.
6
Lamb.
foot something. You get 2 throws in the end zone. Give him a chance to go up and get it, earn his money. You don't run it up the middle with no timeout.
Our compadre, Coach Cooper, was blaming the refs for this game. And
he's been going off for days, ain't he?
Yeah, he's been going off for days. But you can't put it on them. Yeah, I mean, there was some calls here or there. But
the refs did some crappy stuff, but Dallas should have never been in that position.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know Fisher's got a lot to say about that.
Yeah, I know he does. And I want to ask you a couple questions, Fisher, being a resident Cowboys fan. Of course, obviously, after the loss, the first question everybody starts popping up with is Mike McCarthy going to be back? So I want to ask you, 1, do you think he should be back? And 2, how do you fix the Cowboys?
Yeah, there's something missing. I was telling Cooper the same thing. You can't go into a game like that. You tie a franchise record with 14 penalties in a playoff game. You're not going to win. You're not going to win. I mean, the odds are so stacked against you.
Not in the playoffs, yeah.
But there's just something missing. There's not that leadership. There's a reason.
Something.
There's a reason that Dallas hasn't been in the NFC Championship game since. They obviously had repeat Super Bowls with Jimmy Johnson. They did win a Super Bowl with Barry Switzer, but it was Jimmy Johnson's players and those leadership that they had back then. They don't have that leadership on the team. It's just not there. It's not at the highest level.
Right.
It's not a Jerry Jones. It's not him. He may think it's him, but it's not him. And he's not been able to put a coach in line with good talent and leadership.
No Jimmy, that's for sure, man.
No. I mean, Bill Parcells was there, but Bill Parcells did not have the talent on the team yet to do something with it. So there's just something that's not there at a leadership level. So I don't think it's Mike McCarthy. Something that they were not prepared for that game. They were ill prepared. It looked like
not Mike McCarthy. What do you mean by that?
He's not the leader that they need.
Okay,
I don't believe.
So let me ask you this then. I heard one perspective that said, "No, you don't fire a guy who went 12-5." Do you think the record is misleading? Do you think Dallas might have been overrated? And the reason why I ask this is because I think they went 6-0 or something in a division. but it was a
Yeah.
whole different story outside the division against winning teams.
Yeah.
Total different story. And especially in their home record was abysmal. They go on the road, and all of a sudden they're the football team.
Yep.
Maybe misleading a little bit. Their defense was certainly a lot better. I thought their
Yes.
defense was great.
Try to keep
Yeah.
Quinn. Try to keep Dan Quinn for sure.
They've done, yeah.
Yep.
That's going to be the key, keeping Dan
Yep.
Quinn.
Yep.
He's got about 5 interviews lined up already.
I'm sure.
And man, when you strike gold in the draft and get a Micah, on your end, and then you get Diggs in the corner, you got great defensive line and linebacker play. They struck gold with that. The defense is only going to get better. Hopefully they can keep Quinn. But I think they have got to see if they can get some value per Zeke, which I think ain't going to happen because there's too much money on the back end of his contract. But there's something missing where the discipline is not there. Penalties will kill you, especially in the playoffs. Something's got to be done.
Yeah, they got maybe one or two. By the time Dak's contract runs out, that's it. That's their window with this group. They're not going to be able to keep all the high priced dudes. This is it. You got 1 or 2 more seasons. That's it. So if it doesn't happen, then now you're getting into, probably stringing together a rebuild again or whatever it is. You're getting to be at that level. So
Right.
you got to win now, and I don't think it's McCarthy to take them there. So anyway, that's just it.
I agree.
So anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and real quick, my Pittsburgh Steelers. The greatness that Ben Roethlisberger, 18 years, 3 Super Bowl appearances. The respect that he got came and bit them in the end because they were not going to bench a future Hall of Famer, but he should have been. He was in slow motion. I mean, he showed his greatness with 2 touchdown drives towards the end, but you could easily say Kansas City kind of slacked up a little bit too. But just moving in slow motion out there, missed throws, missed decisions. Hopefully their future is going to look bright. They have a great wide receiver core. Juju's made it clear he wants to come back. They certainly got a great linebacker core. Led the NFL again 2 years in a row in sacks. But the corners, those guys couldn't cover a $2 bet. I think the pass rush will be better when Stephon Tuitt comes back and have a decent run again. The offensive line has to gel, but hopefully they can get a quarterback. I don't think Mason Rudolph's the answer. I don't think Haskins is the answer. They're going to get a fair chance to fight it out, but it's just not our thing to go after a high-priced free agent. It's never been done in Pittsburgh. So we'll see what happens there. But those are the 2 major teams. New England, interesting football team. Mac Jones took a lot of flack, but I think he is a rookie.
Yeah.
He's a rookie. Everybody forgets Peyton Manning didn't set the world on fire his first year either.
Most guys didn't.
Second.
Yeah, thank you. I think leave this guy alone. He's in the right place. He'll be just fine. So we'll see. In Philly, I don't know. We don't know what the future holds for them. And I don't know what happened to Arizona. They just fell apart.
Philly's a train wreck still.
Yeah,
Philly's
a train wreck.
Arizona's like another Dallas.
Yeah. With the teams that are left, they all look amazing. 49ers look amazing. The Rams look amazing. We talked about Kansas City and Buffalo and in Cincinnati. So it's going to be great playoffs going down the stretch.
Yep.
So that's it for sports, guys. Let's move on to music real quick. A couple of noted things today. First of all, this day, Alan Freed died in music. Alan Freed, of course, who coined himself as the godfather of rock and roll. He coined the phrase rock and roll. He was a DJ, right, up here in Cleveland. And he was in the beginning of all of this. He had a vision. He was certainly a visionary. And, of course, he was destroyed by the payola scandal of the 60s. There was no oversight. There were no laws. There were no rules. Matter of fact, we didn't get laws till recently, maybe back in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. But DJs, you had 16-year-old kids, up till midnight, working for pennies, and guys were walking in a radio station. Here's a 50, play this, play that, and payola kind of destroyed the music business in a sense, but uplifted a lot of other guys. Thoughts on Alan Freed, Skinner?
Not real familiar with him, but I'm familiar with the story. You know, we talked about it before. I'm not
Yes.
sure if it was
Watch the
on this
movie
show
Hail,
or
Hail, Rock and Roll.
yeah. I
It's a
mean,
great
he
story.
was. You know, we talked about DJs or not, DJs being paid to play certain songs, and like you said, that was his demise, but it also was stepping stone for how music is how music is today. You know.
Absolutely. Sometimes I think about the so-called British invasion, and you have to wonder if that was politics. If the United States was kowtowing to Great Britain and say, we're going.
Mike went on again, brother.
I'm sorry, people. I don't know why that keeps happening. I said you have to wonder if the British invasion was somehow planned. If the United States wasn't kowtowing to Great Britain and said, we're going to pump your artists over here in the United States, because they couldn't become famous and we didn't let them become famous. You know what I'm saying? There was a
Well, you
lot
think
of great
about how
British.
many British stars there were back in the 60s and 70s. You know,
Yeah,
you had the Rolling Stones, you had obviously the Beatles, and I know there's more, but those are the two big ones that come to mind that came from Britain.
right.
So I think you have something there when it comes to. I think it was political
I think
in
there's
a
some
sense.
politics involved. Any thoughts on Alan Freed or what I just said, Fish?
Yeah, just real quick. I mean, certainly he's one of the main reasons that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is in Cleveland, Ohio, right there.
Absolutely. And certainly that style of rock and roll DJing was never heard
Hmm.
before. And I think should be credited for that a lot more too. The excitement is here we have another record by Whitney Cummings. That was
Yeah,
DJing back then. But here you had Alan Free with, hey, we got another hot record for you,
yeah.
cool cats. And it just kind of changed everything. So
Yeah, in the Hall of
uh
Fame, he's got a nice display area, nice
okay.
exhibit about it with Alan Freed. Pretty cool to check out.
Okay. But yeah,
Yep.
the movie Hail Hail Rock and Roll, one of my favorite rock and roll movies. Chuck Berry and a lot on Alan Freed, good stuff. So,
Hmm.
okay, guys, really, this day in music, something very near and dear to our hearts. A guy by the name of Ozzy Osbourne
Yes,
was playing a
sir.
concert, yes, and people were throwing, according to him, rubber animals on the stage or whatever, and there was a bat that he assumed was rubber or fake, which I would too, because why would somebody have a bat at a concert? But he decided to pick it up. I'm sure he was on some substances and bite the head off.
No.
And lo and behold, it was a real bat. This became the stuff of legend.
We had a little
Cer-
bit to talk about when that happened.
yeah, certainly didn't hurt his career, Eddie. Ozzy Osbourne, Fish.
Yeah, it like you say, just made him an extra legend at the time. And he came off of, I think it was after he bit the real head of or bit the head
We can't
of
hear
a
you,
real
buddy.
dove. You can't hear me now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, you're good.
Okay, okay. He bit the head off a real dove, right? Prior to that, I think at a record executive meeting or something
Yes,
crazy
yes,
like that.
yes.
So,
I was going
and
to
then
say
that,
that. It's not like he didn't do a
yeah,
lot of crazy stuff on purpose,
right.
prior or after.
But then the bad thing was a whole other level. I recall like posters at the time of Ozzy standing there with holding like bat wings in his hand with
Right.
like blood running down
He
and stuff
milked
like
it. He
that. So,
milked it.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, of course, he had to get
absolutely.
rabies shots as a result of that.
Yep.
I remember him talking about that. But yeah, that was you're not going to see that type of stuff anymore. I'm sure.
I know. Memories of that, Skidder?
Oh yeah, no, you guys have said it all. He was legend before then, and he just went from here to here
Yes, he
in the
did.
rock and
Yes,
roll
he did.
industry. I mean, I remember when I first heard it, I was actually kind of in shock. No, that didn't happen. There ain't no way. And then as things got on, and it's like, holy crap, that really
Right.
did happen. And
I'm
with all the
sure if anybody's listening to our show, you know about the stories of
Oh
him
yeah,
and Motley Crue on tour. If not, look that stuff up. Okay.
watch the movie Dirt. They
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about a little bit in
unbelievable.
that.
Okay. Quick. Another death date. The great Etta James died on this date in 2012 one of the great soul R&B singers of our time. So we just want to mention her. And also on this date, very interesting date, guys. When I remember when this happened, Paul McCartney sued Sony Records for the coveted Beatles catalog, if I'm not mistaken, worth $500 million. Now, this was happened back in the 90s when, unbeknownst to Paul McCartney, Michael Jackson outbid him for this catalog. I would think Paul McCartney had more money than Michael Jackson, but whatever at that time anyway. But he was scooped for the catalog. This caused a rift in their friendship. I don't know if they spoke after that or not. That friendship ever healed, and of course, until Michael Jackson's death, he had the catalog and then went back to Sony. And Paul McCartney sued for this. Do you guys remember when this happened? Did it surprise you that Michael bought this catalog? What's your thoughts on that, Skinner?
I don't remember much about it. That was kind of at the time I was listening to music, but I wasn't listening to the background of the music industry, if that makes sense. Didn't really pay much attention to the news. Oh, you're muted again, brother.
A little background. They had this great friendship. They did a video song they recorded called "Say Say Say."
Mm-hmm.
And as far as McCartney knew, they were friends. Now, this was a great investment for Michael Jackson. Anybody who could have bought that.
Sure.
Beatles songs are used in commercials, movies, and if you own those publishing rights, you're going to be cashing in from now to the end of time. So this was a great investment. But McCartney was shocked because Michael knew that he was trying to buy it, which he should have rightfully been the owner of this catalog. Keep it back in the family where it belongs. So it really caused a serious rift back then. And I remember a lot of people were picking sides on that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have picked sides. I mean, like you said, in a business sense, it made sense for Michael to purchase that. I mean, that was like you said, that's a money making machine. But if you look at it morally, it probably should have went back to McCartney. I mean, that was his band. That was his time. He was
Right.
I don't want to say heir apparent, but that kind of thing.
Michael understood one thing that most rich people understand. A lot of people that get money don't understand, especially a lot of your athletes. When you get a lot of money, put that money to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid stuff like gold chains and 400 pairs of shoes and cars, those are not investments. Those are not going to make you any money. Those are going to depreciate the moment that you buy them. So put that money to work: land, property, real estate, and of course a catalog. That was just a brilliant investment. Fish.
Yeah, I remember at the time it was just I'm sure the Paul McCartney was pretty shocked at the time. I remember.
Yes, he
And
was.
it took a long time, and he finally got the rights to it, like you say, over many years. But yeah, I mean, it's clearly Michael Jackson's his investment was more important than his friendship with Paul McCartney. So hey, you could judge it if you want to, but like you say, his estate, him and his estate made a lot of money from that transaction,
Yes.
and that's it. So, someone offered to buy our catalog for the podcast, plus reality football for $3.
I've got.
Hey.
So, I held off. Just so you know, I held
I
off for
got an
now. But
offer the other day for a pack of Twizzlers. it's $6, so I gave him the $6.
Yep.
Okay, so we gotta acknowledge Fisher's shirt there. The Thing. You want to talk about that
Yes,
shirt,
indeed.
Fish?
Yeah, just the old retro Ben Grimm, The Thing, old Fantastic Four. This is like 1960s art here. So good stuff. Love the Fantastic Four, and actually looking forward to a movie being done correctly
Correctly, yes.
in the
Let's
Marvel
hope.
Studios. It
And I
will
was
be.
going to say, I hope now that they're going to bring the Fantastic Four into the Marvel universe, I would love to see it being true to the comic four.
Oh yeah.
The competition, the envy, if you will, between him and the Hulk. He was always feeling like he was being considered second fiddle to the Hulk, and comparing himself. And I would love to see that all brought to fruition. So,
Yep,
nice.
absolutely.
Okay, guys, my last story and probably biggest story I want to talk about, 'cause it's just disturbing to me. Um, Flores down in Miami was fired as the head coach, which was disturbing to some people considering Miami won their last 7 games. Um, Very seldom has a coach who won their last 7 games been fired at the end of the season. With his firing, Mike Tomlin is the lone black NFL coach, head coach, which is really quite disturbing. It's 2022. I thought back in 2000, the 2006, 2007 NFL season, which culminated in Super Bowl 41, the Colts versus the Bears. Um, the first time two black head coaches, well, any black head coach made it to the Super Bowl, and you had two facing off, guaranteeing there would be a winner. Uh, Good friends, the great Lovey Smith, and coaching against his best friend of all people, and I thought that was just a awesome thing. Lovey Smith and why am
Tony
I having
Dungy, wasn't it?
Tony Dungy?
You muted.
You would think after Tony Dungy and Lovey Smith facing off in that Super Bowl, this would change things. That this would free up some people's mind. And there was moments where we had 3 or 4. It fluctuated over the years. So now we're back down to 1. Mike Tomlin has been coaching the Pittsburgh Steelers for 15 years. He has had numerous playoff appearances, though they haven't won in the last 5. But he's had a Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 ring, and he has never had a losing season. So I'm really disturbed about this trend. What can the NFL do about this? Now, real quick, I want to mention the Rooney Rule, which has become a joke upon itself. And that joke is the Rooney Rule states that when you are looking for a head coach, you have to at least interview one minority. Doesn't have to be a black head coach. Could be, Puerto Rican, like Ron Rivera, somebody like that. But it has become a joke upon itself. They're doing these interviews, but they're not hiring. How can we circumvent this, or what can the NFL do about this situation? Or do you even see it as a problem, Skinner?
You know, I'm not sure if it's a problem. I think it might. I would like to chalk it up as if it was coincidence. And by saying that is, yeah, Mike Tomlin is he's been in for 15 years. He's not going anywhere for a while until he retires, and he won't go anywhere else. Rivera, who was it? The Miami coach? Is it Rivera? No, not Rivera.
No, Flores.
Flores. He will be on a team before training camp starts, or even probably before spring, before the draft. He'll be on a team as a head coach. So Miami did him dirty. I don't understand the firing. I don't understand. Like you said, they won 7 games, their last 7 games of the season. How do you fire the guy? There's something else that happened that we don't know about, maybe. So I just would I want to say that it's coincidence, but it is certainly something that needs to be looked at if it's not
Yeah.
a coincidence.
I
And I don't want them just
ever disagree with you as much as I disagree with you on that right now. It's certainly not coincidence, in my opinion. It's shameful what it is. We've had I didn't do the research to put the names up. Forgive me, but I can't name you how many head coaches we've had hired in the last 10 years with no experience whatsoever. But yet you have guys like and I'm talking white head coaches, but we have guys like Eric Bieniemy, who's been running one of the top 3 offenses that we not in the league, but that we've ever seen in Kansas City. Can't get a head coach hire. Frazier running one of the greatest defenses we've ever seen for the Buffalo Bills. Can't get a head coach hire. But then we have guys popping up all over the place like, well, even the Browns head coach, he had no experience. He's doing a decent job. but still, you know what I'm
I
saying?
agree with
So
I
I
agree
don't
with
think
you
it's a
there.
coincidence. I think it's absolutely shameful, and you can't force a team to hire somebody, or owner to hire somebody, but something's got to be done about this. When
And
the
that's what
Roonies came up with that rule, I love the fact that they said, you know what, we're the first. We came up with this. We're going to put our money where our mouth is, and they hired Mike Tomlin. That certainly has paid off for them. But
right.
to say it's a coincidence, I don't think so at all.
No,
Now in
I said
college, hold on, let me finish. I'm gonna let you
yeah.
defend yourself. In college, they have circumvented it by this whole thing. It's kind of like being grandfathered in. And they got to do something about this. What head coaches are doing when they know they're on their way out, they're naming their successor. Okay.
Mhm.
And this is a way to say, you know what, we're going to keep this. I don't want to say the good old boys club, but that's what it feels like. But for to have a league that's 70% black and you have one black head coach in the league, I think less than 5 GMs and not one single owner, it's shameful. Fish,
Yeah.
are you ready, buddy?
Sorry
And yeah,
about that,
just
guys.
to
I needed a oh, there on the charge.
Oh, okay.
No, it's okay. So I got the gist of I mean, you hope it's not race, right? I mean, it's just you. Is it simply the guys weren't performing? I don't know. Flores is the most head scratcher because the players did seem to respond well to him. They ended the
Right.
season very, very
And I
strong.
want to be fair.
Yeah,
We don't know what was going on down there.
right.
Was it a problem in the front office, whatever? But he's just one example. But the fact that we just have one
Yeah,
in 2022, that's a problem.
yeah. It makes it. I mean, the Rooney Rule was certainly put into place with the very best intention. It just yeah, it feels more of a formality, perhaps,
Like a joke.
than
Yeah.
really seeking out
Mm-hmm.
good coaching talent. So I don't know. You hope some of these guys get an opportunity. I mean, I can't.
You had Bill
Yeah,
O'Brien down in Houston falling apart for years.
yeah,
Not to mention your boy in Dallas till he just got fired.
right.
You know, underperforming for years. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Then you got a guy like Flores who starts turning that team around, won 7 games straight,
Well,
and you're fired.
but wouldn't
I just
surprise
don't
me
get
he
it.
lands somewhere else, though. Honestly, Flores. It wouldn't surprise me if he lands somewhere else. Other than the former quarterback is it was it for Tampa Bay, the offensive coordinator
Oh yes, that's another one. Played quarterback for the Steelers and
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know you're talking
yeah.
about. Yeah,
He may get a
this
job.
guy needs to have head coach
And he might.
coaching
He
job.
might. I guess we'll see what happens here over the next, during the off season here. So it'll be
We'll see,
interesting.
and we're going to see. I tell you what, we're going to revisit this story
Yeah.
after the off season and see the coaching hires to see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, that's all
Absolutely.
I got, guys. Fish?
All right. Let's get into a little bit of pop culture here.
Thank you guys for your honest opinion, Skinner. If you still have something to rebuttal, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. You're right. No, I just wanted you to understand that I wanted to believe that it's coincidence. Do I think it is?
Thank
No,
you.
but I want to believe that it is.
Okay.
That was
Yeah.
the clarification I wanted to give you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Pop culture. Just to recognize here too, Keith. Just you just did music and sports here, but Ronnie Spector.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
That's okay. She passed away recently. She was part of the iconic group in the '60s, the Ronettes. And
Mhm.
you if you're familiar with music from that era, you certainly probably know. Not you certainly probably you certainly do know Ronnie Spector, married to Phil
The
Spector.
voice was undeniable.
Absolutely, that 1960s voice.
Unfortunately, she got more known for the beating she took from Phil Spector.
Yeah, that's terrible.
That voice is undeniable.
But she got out of there eventually. Finally, was
Thank
married
goodness.
to her manager for like 40 years. I
Yes.
read, so that's pretty great. She was 78 years of age. The songs "Be My Baby," "Walking in the Rain," and certainly from our era, she did the song with Eddie Money, "Take Me Home Tonight." So
One of my
she was the
favorites.
iconic female voice in that song. That Eddie Money didn't like that song originally, but when he sang it with Ronnie Spector, he definitely realized he had something good there, and it definitely became a hit for both those artists. And also, she did Say Goodbye to Hollywood with Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band. So good song there as well. So
I think it's one of the most underrated voices in rock and roll. One of the greatest voices ever.
yeah,
Loved it. The song "Be My Baby," one of my favorites.
absolutely. Let's see what time. A couple quick things here. Interesting pop culture. Tim Allen is, certainly has been a lot of iconic roles, including Santa Claus from the 90s. He has signed on with Disney Plus to do a Santa Claus series. That's going to go into production soon. I don't know how many episodes that will be, but he is turning, let's say, 65 and going to do Santa Claus again. So I assume that'll be out probably later on this year. I would assume around the holiday time. So kind of interested to see Tim Allen return as Santa
I'm going to
Claus.
say this and let Skinner talk. I can't believe it's taking this long.
Yeah,
When you hit something out the park, milk it. He hit that out the park.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he did. I loved the first one. I'll watch that over and over every single year. And the second one was good too. I absolutely despise the third one with Martin Short.
Yeah.
It was not good, and I think that's why there's been a delay in doing something
Okay.
is because of how bad that third one flopped. And I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. You're not missing anything, but yeah, no, Tim Allen as Santa Claus, gold. He was phenomenal in the role. So I'm really glad to see, and I'm glad that they're for kids my kids' age. Our older kids, that grew up with the Santa Claus. My parents took all three of the older three kids. My mom and dad would take them when those three movies came out. They took them to the theater to see that. So, and they still remember that today. So that's kind of cool. And this will be a nice memory for them as well. Maybe they can do it with their kids.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So this week in pop culture, earlier in the week, back in 1984, it seems like it would be longer ago. I don't know, but the Supreme Court approved that private VCRs could be used to record shows to watch later. So the networks took that case all the way up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled on behalf of the consumer. And I assume that the networks didn't like the fact that it's going to screw up their ratings, perhaps, if you recorded a television show or commercials, certainly, and things like that. So yeah, back in '84, while all three of us were, well, Keith and I, you and I were freshmen in high school at that time. So Skinner was coming up behind us here. So yeah, I just and you think about how from that point on, how the VCR changed the viewing of television from then on out.
I thought about it I thought about it as a great advancement in viewing, but I didn't think about how it affected the TV
revenue
people and the movie people.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously from that point on, everything was different. That was our first taste of sort of on demand, if you will. Obviously, we didn't have to sit around and wait for the show to come on. We could record a sporting event that we were going to miss. And hell, back then, Skinner, back in 1992, I recorded the Cowboys and the 49ers championship game because I was at work. That was the only way I could watch it, was to record on the dang VCR at the time. So, yeah, so then obviously from there, as we know, it's all on demand now, but that was our first taste, back in the day. So, yeah, 84. Thank you, Supreme Court. All the rulings recently and all that are head scratchers, whatever. But back then, that was certainly a ruling that many of us got behind. Absolutely. So, also this week, 5 years ago, it was the anniversary this past Monday of the demise of the app Vine. And you may not even remember that. It's with so many other platforms out there at this point. But Vine, you might recall, was the first short video app. You could only record a video for like 6 seconds at the time. So just people got more and more creative with that, and it just kind of blew up. And then, sure enough, other platforms came in like Instagram and others that allowed a longer video. Now, yeah, well, Vine just couldn't keep up. It was kind of too little, too late. They tried to expand their what they would allow video wise and so forth, but it was just too late. They had other people that were huge content makers for Vine, took their viewers and everything over to YouTube and Instagram and those platforms, and Vine just couldn't keep up and eventually folded. Now, heck, TikTok is there, obviously. Instagram has videos. YouTube now has videos you can put out there, shorts for 15 seconds, and they're just out there everywhere. You can sit down if you're not careful and get sucked into TikTok for half an hour without even thinking about it. So,
I think I mentioned it to you guys how I had deleted my app.
yeah.
I actually just recently put it back on. I get it, and I had to delete it because I would sit there for an hour, 2 hours, just watch stuff, and I get it. And I like the ones that are informative, but I still like the long videos. That's the part I hate about it. I like to see something start, climax, and then has a resolution. So I still get on like Facebook Watch,
Yeah.
and like watching videos of things happen.
Yeah. So are these short videos, guys? Are they just like? Is it too much, or does it give people an avenue to present some creative content? Like you said, there's definitely good stuff out there, good informative stuff, or is it just way too much mind garbage? Skinner, what do you think?
I can answer that both ways. If it's for somebody 18 and under, it's mind garbage. I think it's for anybody that's mature enough to use it for what, to learn or to educate yourself. Then yeah, it's okay. But you guys, not the first time you've heard me I'm going to use the term bitch about my child, my 13-year-old. She wakes up, she's on TikTok. She goes to bed, she's on TikTok. That's all she does. Whether in school, she's a straight A student. Don't get me wrong, she's a great girl. But she sits up in her room and she's scrolling on TikTok on her waking hours, and that's not good for the mind. That's not good for society.
Right.
That's not good for social skills.
Or the
And
eyes.
she's not the only one. It's all the kids do it these days. But I think if you use it for informational purposes, you can get a lot of good recipes on there, from my understanding. You can get a lot of good
There's a
ideas.
lot of garbage on there, but some
Hmm.
people use, like you said, Skinner, creatively, forces them to be creative in the few seconds that they have. I've learned a lot from it. But I love the Allstate commercial, the mayhem from Allstate
Oh
when
my
he's making
goodness.
fun of the dances. I love that
The
commercial. Some
TikTok
people don't get
dances.
it. Yeah,
Hmm. Absolutely. So yeah, I can answer it both ways for you to sum that
I
up,
agree.
Fish.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, there's definitely some super talented people out there. Some of these kids that are, like you said, are dancing. They're out there on the sidewalk and doing. There's some incredible, incredible. I don't know. I think it's entertaining. I think I'd like seeing those, the dance routines and all. There's some very good, talented kids out there for sure. But like
I'm
I say,
thinking of the ones who do the snake.
it's like 90. I feel like though, and maybe it's my own fault, my own feed, I guess. But 90% of it plus is just like a good looking girl jumping around and a lip syncing a comedy routine or a song and just bouncing around. And
Yes.
it's like
Yes.
you get all these views and so forth. It's just like that type of stuff. I'm just like, give me the more talent out there. I don't know,
Right.
but
Exactly.
yeah.
Well, when I redid mine, I made sure I watch what I watch so I get more of it. And what I like is the health stuff, yeah, and the credit stuff, learning all this stuff. It's been great.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know. And yeah, we're coming up on the hour here, just a minute here. Do want to mention one thing here is you can get a lot of entertainment in on these apps. A few seconds here, a few seconds there. But if you want some real entertainment to last you many hours, get yourself an electric bike. Consider that at RPM Bike Shop. Check them out. Our sponsor on their Facebook page, RPM Bike Shop. Quality electric bikes, affordable. Ride it like a regular bike. Use the electric boost to give you a nice boost up to difficult terrain, or you're going to go out
Mm-hmm.
farther. Great stuff. Check them out on
Yeah, and
Facebook.
I just want to add to that. This isn't just some sponsor people, some company that came to us. These people are our family. So we stand by their product and the character of these people. So highly recommend that you check it out.
That's right. Keep yourself
Do I
strong.
have time for an announcement?
You do have time for an announcement. Go right ahead, sir.
Okay, real quick. On Saturday, February 5th at 5:15, I will be having an event. Most of you know Coach Cooper. He's part of our program. He took a leave of absence the last year or so. Started reality football with us, but his wife and I are somewhat business partners. I had a vision a few years ago, inspired by a young lady by the name of Hallie Becker. And this vision has come to fruition called Hallie's House, where we want to start making gift bags to give out to the homeless all year round instead of just Christmas. So we're going to have a blessing bags assembly party where we're going to put these bags together, sponsored by Hallie's House. Uh, it's an event hosted by Amy Cooper and myself at 2533 Manchester Road. Again, on Saturday, February 5th. You can get in touch with us about the items if you would like to donate. Dollar items, things people would need if you're out homeless in the cold, little hand heaters, um, you know, uh, deodorant. So all these little things that a homeless person would need. We did this on Christmas Eve a couple of years, and it came to me, what about the rest of the year? So we want to start doing this every month, one day out of the month, passing out gift bags to the homeless. So thank you.
There you go. Well,
Very good.
no better way to end the show than great community announcement and great community efforts out there, Keith. So, Skinner, you want to take us out, please, sir, from another episode, please.
Yeah, thanks for listening, folks. So for Brian Fisher and Keith Porter, I'm Michael Skinner. We appreciate your listening, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Give us money.
Stay strong, Gen X.
And out.